puzzle to a closed corner. Get a brick in there. Now, go. That's where Coy's talking to the man himself. Kelly, it's Kelly Graham. Kelly Graham. Take it from the top. Hope you enjoy it.
And hey, man, I really appreciate you joining us. Thanks for sitting down.
This week I got to thinking, for 6 months we didn't have a building. We were a church that was nomadic, and now we're sitting here in a building that we can't use.
Whether we were ready for it or not, this finish line came quickly.
It's kind of my story of how I wound up here. This was not an intended deal. This was not Kelly's grandiose plan. And I said, dude, you never, ever want to work for a church. God has a sense of humor. Because 2 years later, Kelly's working for a church. 12 years later, here I am. I was working for a cell phone company, and in 2006, management changes, directions called in. It's like, we're changing directions, we're going to reorganize. Here's your lovely parting gift. Thank you very much for your service. Every door was being closed. Several times got down to the final two. Think it went well. We're going with the other guy. And I just kind of, when every door starts getting closed, you kind of figure maybe God's got a different plan. In 2007, New Hope starts. We need to find a place. And so next thing you know, Kelly's figuring out how to turn a warehouse into a church building, and did that, kept doing side stuff. Well, we ought to just start paying you. A year later, we buy a building and had to do all that over again.
Because of the specialties you carry, wherever you decide to kind of implement yourself, very well may just carve out a job for you. The tight-knit aspect that has been created from it is undeniable.
Oh, yeah. But at the same time, I think it's given us an opportunity to rethink what we knew. It was exciting to have the building and everything, but it became comfort. Now we have to be creative again. And that's very exciting. How can we do this, and how can we use all these tools we put in place?
Your wife, Berta, is one of the more accomplished people I know.
What is her title at Integris, or her official role?
Currently, it is the clinical manager of kidney pancreas transplant for the Nazi Zudi Transplant Institute. How's that for a card? She told me what she's been in nursing for, let's just say, a long time, and been in management for probably 3/4 of her time. So she's been at Integris now for 18 years.
Okay.
In transplant, she did transplant for 2 years at OU, and did pediatric. She was the director of pediatric of children's OR for almost 15 years, something like that. That's what she was doing when we met and got married. I was going to Quail. My parents moved to Oklahoma after I graduated from college. They started attending Quail. And my parents got recruited to be in charge of the workroom. Bert was a coordinator for kindergarten. I knew who she was. Neither one of us were looking to date anybody, and she needed somebody to come fix a computer. She asked me if I'd come fix her computer, and she cooked me dinner. We enjoyed each other's company. What can I say? I think that started, May, June time frame, and we were engaged by Valentine's Day. I can't explain it. I think we both just kind of knew. And like I said, we were both had built careers and weren't really looking. And when you're not looking, this is kind of what happens.
So, okay, now when it came time to propose, you are a creative, thoughtful person. What'd that look like?
So anyhow, I called her boss and said, I'm going to propose, and it's just by the luck of the calendar, Valentine's Day. And I would like to do something at the hospital. And she goes, we've got you covered. Be here at 10 o'clock. And my secretary will meet you and bring you in. That's all I knew.
Wow. Okay, so what happened next?
So I show up and they walk me into a conference room. They've called an emergency management meeting, every manager at Children's Hospital. And there was a lot of management shakeups going on. Everyone in that room knew what was going on with the exception of Berta.
How many people would you estimate were in that room?
More than 50.
Oh,
And all of a sudden I'm standing there, they open the door and I walk in and ask her in front of everybody. The interesting thing was after she said yes, she still hadn't caught on to what was going on.
she didn't know everyone else was in on it?
She leans over and goes, "You need to leave. We have an emergency meeting."
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Oh my goodness.
I might not know how to do things, but I know somebody that does know somebody.
Connections are the key to life.
It all just worked together somehow. And then we're married in June, and so it'll be 23 years this June.
All right, man. I need to hear about the youngins. Let's talk about the boys.
You've got a couple of prophet nephews, I guess would be the way to describe their names.
They're kind of like yours. Rhonda is Berta's sister, and those are Jonah and Noah. I think they were 5 and 3 when they started coming to spend time with us by themselves.
Okay.
And it started out one time it was 1 week, then the next summer it was 2 weeks, and I think we got up to like 7 weeks. They pretty much spent the whole summer with us. And that was about the time I was already working at New Hope, so I had flexibility. They'd come up here and they built obstacle courses through the building. They had all sorts of fun. There were certain things that we would always do, the three of us. There was the zoo, the science center. And one time Bert took off and she said, "Can I go to the zoo with you?" And they went, "No, that's for us and Kelly. You can't go."
They shut her out.
They shut her out. I think the first time I took them to the zoo, I'd never been so scared in my entire life. And like I said, I think they were 3 and 6. And I thought I lost one of them in the playground at one point. Oh, I was scared. Now they're 18 and 15. Jonah's the older one. He's one of the seniors that kind of got COVIDed. He's missed out on all the fun senior stuff. He started out in soccer, went from soccer to track, added cross country to it, and then was recruited last fall to play football. They're in one of the burbs of St. Louis. So it's funny because even though they're 3 years apart, this year was the first year both of Jonah and Noah were in the same building at the same time.
So is little brother doing the same?
Soccer, he started running track, and he thinks he wants to do football, but I think the first time he gets hit, that's going to be it.
Three and only three is the name of the game. You have to choose 3 of the following. So the first question is, which of these professional athletes, this list of 7, would you want to hang out with? Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Kendrick Perkins, Nick Collison, Peyton Manning, Tiger Woods, LeBron James. 3 and only 3. Who are you taking?
It would probably be Nick Collison, just because he just seems like you're all around, just kind of, he's the utility guy.
Yeah.
Liked him. I always liked watching Kendrick Perkins, just for anything else. In the original, the original loops where they would say where they were from, and it was always Beaumont, Texas.
Mom.
Texas. And probably Chris Paul.
All right. CP. So he's one. Would you have said that at all before this season?
No, not really. I just like how he's kind of like he's the elder statesman of the team.
Yeah.
And how he motivates and run. That's what kind of I would think it'd be interesting to hang with.
Kendrick Perkins has become my favorite media basketball person to listen to. He is a serial truth teller regardless of what
there is nothing. He's just going to tell you what he thinks.
Yep.
Back when Mom and Dad were still in Texas, you had a stretch where you were covering as many miles as a semi-driver. What did that look like?
How long of a stretch was that you were going back and forth I-35 for?
So 6 years ago, he started dialysis. And so that summer, it was like, don't know, back and forth, and I'd go down to all the doctor's appointments. So in September, 6 years ago, we started dialysis, and it was rough. They discovered a couple other things, and we really didn't know what the future was going to hold. So I was in and out for about 3 months. I was probably down there a week or two at a time, and I'd come back on the weekends to be here and book out here Monday, about noon, be down there. He'd be done with dialysis and have his nap, and then I'd help around the house, go do whatever he wanted to do Monday, Tuesday. We'd get up at 4:30 on Wednesday morning, meet in the kitchen, eat a little breakfast. He would head towards the dialysis center, and I'd head home, and I'd be rolling in up here about 9:30, quarter till 10, and I get a text from him. He said, well, you're home, and I got 45 more minutes to go. I'd be back here before he'd be finished with his treatment.
Wow.
And I did that for 3 years. And then when he fell and broke his hip in 2017, that's when it's like, okay, it's interesting God's timing and all that, because now we're trying to find a place. And we found a place. My house, his house, and the dialysis center are all within like a 6-7 mile drive of each other. And the church is right in the middle of the big triangle. I mean, he lives for Tuesday mornings and Saturday morning Zoom calls with either the men's Bible study or the mob.
And now, more 3 and only 3.
Bands you would listen to moving forward. 3 and only 3. We've got Metallica, the Beatles, One Direction, Beyonce, Kanye, Louis Armstrong, and the Beach Boys. 3 and only 3. Who's coming?
Okay. The Beatles, Louis Armstrong. I can't get really excited about any of the other ones.
One Direction doesn't do it for you?
No. I like people that can write their own stuff and can play an instrument. I'm sorry.
Some of the Beach Boys had really good talent.
Okay, that would be the fringe one, okay, if I had to pick 3.
The potential of my brother ending up working alongside your dad in a way that I don't think probably either of us found out till a while.
Oh, it was, yeah. And the deal was, Dad breaks his leg on his 83rd birthday, I think. Just starts home therapy, and I think your brother came out then, I'm not 100% sure, and did his evaluation. 5 weeks later, he winds back up in the hospital with sepsis, spends 6 more weeks in hospital. It comes home, and your brother comes back out, builds the plan. And I was there one time when he came in. I didn't know who he was. It was before they started coming. And then all of a sudden, Dad's back here.
Then my brother and his family started coming to church here, and you saw him at the building.
And your brother came up. I always want to know what happened to you. And he goes, well, it's been an interesting, 3 months. He goes, what happened? I almost died,
Your dad has one of those personalities that it's infectious in a lot of ways.
Somebody said that he would be the best politician you'd ever know because he doesn't know a stranger and he can work a room better than anybody they'd ever seen.
I believe that. He could win over a crowd in a heartbeat. Being close, having parents here on a regular basis as opposed to the proximity you were experiencing, how's that been?
So yeah, it's been great in a lot of ways because people get to know him. And, they were at Quail, and there's some of the people that from here that were at Quail, and they know him. Being an only child, I hung out a lot with my dad, and my dad's job it wasn't an 8 to 5 Monday through Friday. As an air traffic controller, you work different shifts every day. I hung out with him a lot. He learned to fly when I was 4 years old, and we'd go flying and stuff like that. So we were extremely close. They moved back to Texas. I get married. We're only 4 hours apart. We talked every weekend, but, we didn't see each other for months. but it did change the dynamic whenever they moved. I'm very, very protective of them. So I'm torn between doing what I need to do and keeping an eye on them. And I'll turn around and it's like, where'd he go? You know, or where's mom at? You know, what trouble are they getting into? You know, just listen for the chair or see the cowboy hat go screaming by the window, you know.
Signature right there, man. 3 and only 3 things that can exist in your household, Kelly. We've got house shoes, reclining chairs, an automatic dishwasher, social media, coffee, streaming services, or literal windows. Not the thing on your computer, things that help you see outside. 3 and only 3, what are we going with?
Gotta have a recliner. Gotta have windows. Oh, and I'm just lazy, so we'll go with the dishwasher. For the last year and a half, you know, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I pull in over at their house at 5:30. We sit and talk and eat, finish breakfast, and then we head towards the clinic at 5:45. It's kind of weird. You kind of bond with the other people in there. There's another older man, a gentleman in there. I think his name's Bud, but everybody calls him Bingo because no matter what you say, his answer is bingo.
What do you remember most about growing up?
It was not a typical childhood I had growing up. Him learning to fly, I hung out at airports my whole life.
Yeah, I was about to say, flying in planes with your dad is not a experience most people get.
You know, especially during the summer, like when he was off in the middle of the week. He said, are you doing anything today? And I was like, Dad, I'm 10. What do I got scheduled for today? But we'd go get in the plane that we had access to, and we might fly to Austin or Houston, have lunch, and fly home. I was still in elementary school, the Goodyear Blimp. That's where they would stay.
Okay.
And he goes, hey, the Blimp's in town. Let's go and see it. Okay. We went out there. Next thing I know, we're getting in it. And we flew around for an hour and a half.
In the Goodyear Blimp?
The Goodyear Blimp.
What was the inside of that like?
It's to fly around and flash signs on. It is not meant for travel or comfort.
What a blessing.
Yeah. And like I said, it was a little different of a life growing up. I thought I wanted to be a pilot when I was growing up, and I don't know why I changed. I really don't, but I did. But one of the things you always learn, and Dad always taught me, was you're here now. You got to think, where will you be in 2 minutes? Because you have to make decisions right now to know. So you always got to be thinking ahead, because I need to know, what do I need to do right now to be where you want to take me? I have to know the end point.
I think all those things serve to equip us, whether we realize it or not, permanently down the road for the stuff we're going to need. To be able to experience such a wide array of things, and you've seen all kinds of different circumstances inside equations that, for a brain like yours that processes details and wanting to know how it works and how it functions and everything, it just, all of those serve as an inventory of experience that you can draw from that are really awesome. Okay, 3 and only 3 movies you keep. We've got Schindler's List, Shawshank Redemption, The Dark Knight, John Wick movie of your choice, Toy Story movie of your choice, Anchorman, and Zoolander.
Okay, be Shawshank. Probably the original Toy Story.
Ooh.
Mainly because first movie I took, we just had Jonah, and he was like 4, I think, and we took Jonah to that. I'm gonna call an audible on you. We're gonna go Omaha.
Omaha. Throwing in your own choice.
I'm gonna throw my own in there.
What are we going with?
Probably go Hunt for Red October.
Kelly, I appreciate it, man. This was enjoyable.
Okay.
Thanks, brother.
Okay. See you in a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
Bye.
Later.
Thanks, Kelly. Hope everybody enjoy. I'll see you next time on episode 3 of Toys Corner. Bye.